Hey everybody, this is the digital asset investor. Oh, interesting article here about Japan. Japan's financial regulator may approve crypto ETFs report. Now that is interesting because it goes hand in hand with what I've been saying. The United States is going to approve crypto ETFs. It's just a matter of time, and they're going to do so because they don't want the world to leave them behind. Says a Bloomberg report on Monday, citing a person familiar with the matter, said that the FSA is currently asserting institutional interest in ETFs that track cryptocurrencies and could ultimately give them a go-ahead. Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party will reportedly submit draft legislation by March 2019 that could include such a move through amendments to existing financial rules. The bill, which would also bring in more self-regulatory oversight of the industry and class many ICO tokens as securities, could come into law by 2020, the report indicated. So this is that's one thing I say over and over. It's just a matter of time. It's unfortunate that regulators are holding back technology the way they are or have been, but this is all going to explode out of nowhere when and it's not going to be once the regulations are exactly in place. It's going to be in anticipation of those regulations being in place, because that's how markets work. The stocks and all these different things in financial markets, they don't react the second that the bill is passed. They react when somebody floats a rumor about how it is going to be passed. That's how this works. But to make the bigger point here, again, it's just a matter of time before the SEC approves these ETFs, because they're not going to sit by and watch the rest of the world swallow the US. It's not going to happen. Okay, moving along. And I wanted to further make that point. This is what I'm showing you here. This is a tweet from CZ Binance. He retweeted, this is Switzerland, the go-to country for crypto startups, may become even friendlier towards crypto. Former finance minister Ulay Maurer has been appointed as president. In other words, this is a very pro-crypto person being appointed. But what he says here is what's important. It's a race at multiple levels. And the United States may be pretending to be doing this slow, but I don't believe they are. I think that behind the scenes, the money people are making it happen. And I think that it'll spring on everyone at once is what I really believe. But in line with this, XRP Veteran had tweeted this, at XRP_veteran. You need to follow, definite follow. He's puts out good information. Interesting, because the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, is located in Switzerland and known as the top of the elite financial monetary system that controls the banks around the world. And he's retweeting this, or he's tweeting this article, Switzerland may become crypto friendly with this guy becoming president. So these are exciting things, people. All right, the DX Exchange, and we are finally live. Welcome to DX Exchange. Register now to start trading. So they are live. And then Mr. B tweeted this, and I think this is an important tweet, and I'm going to refresh this because I wanted to see something. Let me refresh his tweet. If anyone in the XRP community signs up for the DX Exchange, please give us your feedback on the platform. Thank you. So I want to say that too. Any kind of screenshots or anything like this, this is a screenshot that someone replied to his tweet on. By the way, before I do that, I want to make sure I mention, go follow Mr. BXRP. This guy's major active in the XRP community, and he's all over it. So there's about 100 people in the XRP community that you really need to follow. He's at the top of the list, at XRP Mister. Okay, and then this is the screenshot. This is DX Exchange. This screenshot does not show. It shows the trading pairs here. It does not show the stocks that were talked about. But that's what I'm interested. I want to see what it looks like, the trading pairs, and how all that looks. So anybody that's able to have access to this, I already tried to sign up for an account. It's in Estonia, and they do not allow U.S. residents. So I couldn't get in. Let's see if anybody else has tweeted anything interesting on here. It looks like DX Exchange has their own digital asset as well. Let's see if this, no, I want to go, I saw that one before. Let me make sure this one does not have something that the other did not. Yeah, I still haven't seen anything about the stocks, but I'd be interested in anybody who get on Twitter or message me or email me and send me any kind of, don't email me because I won't open an attachment via email. So if you'll message me on Twitter, send me a message on Twitter if you have any cool screenshots or anything like that, and I'll share them. And moving along, now C3 Nick said something about this. C3 Nick really put out a profound tweet yesterday when he asked them if they were going to have XRP Apple pairs or XRP Netflix pairs, that kind of thing. And he brings out really the largest point when he did that, and that's kind of what he's talking about here. By tokenizing stocks, one could buy groceries with parts of Apple stock, as an example, within seconds. This example may be special, but it goes to show what will be possible in the future. Really interesting use cases ahead. Use cases we cannot even imagine yet. Well, I'll take that a step further because he makes an extremely good point. Imagine that you're in that grocery store. Imagine that all of the assets that you own are liquid across the board. And that would include, let's say that could even include a rental property that you own. You could even, in a pinch, literally buy something at a grocery store that in a liquid manner, a tiny percentage share of one of your rental properties is transferred to someone else, and it goes in and out of different currencies and eventually comes out in the currency that grocery store wants through the ledger protocol maybe. But you see where this is going. Everything in the world is going to be extremely liquid, and I've always believed XRP will be a bridge. It'll be probably the #1 bridge for that liquidity because there's going to need to be transfers, and XRP is the fastest and the most scalable and the cheapest, and for that reason, the movement of those different liquid assets you will want them to go through the fastest and the cheapest to move it, because that liquidity has to move. All right, so but going down, he also added to this. This ties in with the tweet I sent DX Exchange about XRP trading pairs. If you pair a digital asset with real stocks, you get liquidity for that stock into all corridors the digital asset has liquidity in. And then these guys are like, this is another person you should follow, Great Gatsby at Bamboo XRP. This will become one XRP main purposes, in my opinion. This will be one of XRP main purposes, in my opinion. Say I want to trade USD for gold, then gold for oil, then back to USD all in one day. XRP allows me to do this and still buy groceries with my profits all in one day. These guys are making great points. You should go look at this thread. They're talking about, you can literally go and buy any asset with any other asset. That's where this world is going to take you. Then this is about Ripple, okay, and what they're doing. Now, I want to make a point here. In this bear market, it is very easy to lose sight at the monster, huge infrastructure that Ripple is putting in place, which will ultimately be the use case for XRP, the #1 use case, which is settlement and the movement of money around the world. And this is just one thing this was tweeted out today by XRP veteran, definite follow at XRP_veteran. Ripple building infrastructure silently but rapidly around the world. Kuwait Finance House, KFH, has started operating an instant cross-border remittance service using Ripple's blockchain technology. The zero fees instant international transfer service is available now in Saudi Riyal SAR, where customers can make remittance transactions to beneficiaries at Al Rahaji Bank. It's happening right now, people. Okay, now I want to show you something that is also a bigger point issue. Back in January of last year, everybody and their brother, it was price predictions left and right, price predictions this, price predictions that. And now those same people will not ever talk about price predictions. They will be talking about price predictions again when it's completely safe and everybody's okay with it because the markets are up and everything. Well, I disagree with that because the potential of XRP is not something that I changed my mind on because we happen to be in a crypto bear market. That's not relevant to what XRP is doing. What's relevant is the big picture, and what is relevant is what Ripple has been laying the foundation for behind the scenes. And I'm not going to be a coward and be scared to say what I would say in a bull market when we're in a bear market. I believe the exact same thing now that I believed last December. Nothing has changed. Nobody has come out and said anything to me. There's been nothing in the news except good things for Ripple and XRP or digital assets. The only bad things that we've seen can obviously be disproved. Like when we see a Bloomberg article that Wall Street is leaving, that day I'll show you where Wall Street's investing millions of dollars and they're not leaving, because those are just things that are being thrown. Those are hand grenades that are being thrown out there to scare people away from their investments. What's important is what's going on the ground and what people are actually doing, where the money's actually flowing, and where the potential really is. And so that's what brings me to this tweet. And I Am Legion is one of those guys in the XRP community who is not a coward. This guy tells it like he thinks, and he will give you, he references things sometimes he keeps his eye on the ball. In other words, he's saying things that are consistent with what was being said last January, and I'll show you in a minute. Well, look at this, and you should follow him. Very smart guy, very active member, and he looks like he is a Game of Thrones fan. I am too. I'm hoping that's going to be coming back out again soon. I think it is. At PAISAN2684986. And so he tweets out, I guess he's retweeting this, which is from another good XRP member that should be followed, at XRP_Canada. How much could XRP be worth one day? Depends on how big you want to dream, David Schwartz. And so David Schwartz at one time had done a breakdown of what he thought was reasonable expectations, and it was all dependent on certain things happening. And so that's all we're talking about here. But this is a very interesting thing. I don't think David Schwartz did this analysis. I think somebody else did. But this makes sense. And before I go into this, I want to mention, basically what they're talking about here is the Nostro accounts around the world. I've seen in several interviews, Brad Garlinghouse, when asked about XRP and the potential and all that, he always says, you have to understand what we're going after. He either uses the number 21 or 27. I can't remember. It's one of those two. But we're going to go with 27 for today. He always says that we're trying to solve a $27 trillion problem. And that's his code for saying, if we solve a $27 trillion problem, the Nostro accounts, by using XRP, that XRP would replace all of that money sitting in Nostro accounts around the world. And if this write-up is, if let's say Ripple was 100% successful in putting XRP in those Nostro accounts and allowing all of those banks to bring their money home. Well, if that was the case and you had that kind of capital tied up, what this breakdown does is it takes you through all of the numbers, and they arrive at a $692.30 for each XRP coin. Okay? Well, what I like to do when I see numbers like this is I like to say, well, nobody's going to be 100% successful. So what I say to you today is, let's say that Brad Garlinghouse, he's already said they're trying to solve this $27 trillion problem. He's not going to come out and say what that means specifically is that XRP would replace the $27 trillion in fiat currencies that are in these Nostro accounts. But that's what he means. Okay, so let's say that he's 10% successful in that. And instead of 27 trillion, it's 10% of 27 trillion. When you run those numbers, this 692 $69.30 comes to XRP being worth $69.23. Now that by itself, folks. In other words, if Ripple is 10% successful in what their goal is, and these aren't, I've said this before, these are not the kind of people that are 10% successful in anything. These are Harvard grads, Stanford grads, lawyers. These are advisors to ex-presidents. These are the most successful people in society that run Ripple, folks. And they've been at it for over 5 years, longer than anybody else in blockchain. These are not 10% successful guys. These are 99% successful guys. That's the way guys like this in their lives, that's how they are. That's how it works. But anyway, let's use that 10%. $69.23. Okay, moving along. But someone in his feed here, in this Twitter feed right here, XRP Canada had put this article, which was from back in January, and they presented some other interesting things. XRP, how much will it be worth? This is the kind of articles they were saying back in January of last year when we had the big run up, right before things started to come down. But those points are still valid, and I'll read a couple of them too. The market cap for gold is about 7.8 trillion. If XRP one day matches the value that gold is today, that adds an additional value of $200 per XRP onto the current circulating supply of Bitcoin. So what that means is if XRP was 10% of gold, then that would be $20, right? $20 XRP. Then later in the article, they said if XRP were used by Visa, somebody had written a blog where they had run the numbers. If XRP were used by Visa, it would increase the value of each XRP by $229.74. Then they did one on MasterCard. If XRP were used by MasterCard, it would increase the value of XRP by $90.35. But those are interesting things. Okay, finally, I want to show you something that I did. Now, I've talked to you about Tron. I own Tron. I've helped some of my family members buy Tron. Tron has been running up recently for this reason. Tron, Justin Sun, who was the CEO of Tron, they bought BitTorrent, and then they began creating Project Atlas, which is basically BitTorrent is trying to create a decentralized platform like a YouTube, but decentralized, and using Tron as the base currency in that environment. But what's so cool about this is that there are 100 million users right now on BitTorrent. So, and what Tron just did is they announced the BitTorrent token, the BTT token, which is built on Tron. And so this is like what happened in Ethereum last year when they started doing all the ICOs underneath Ethereum. Ethereum's price started skyrocketing. Well, they have announced this BTT token, and they're about to go live with this with Project Atlas, which is combining BitTorrent with this token. Okay, and the token will be, my understanding is that it will be paid to the people that are providing content, as well as to the people who are storing content on their servers around the world. That's how I understand it. But what's interesting is that there are 100 million active users. Talk about a use case, folks. So the reason I brought this up today is one of my friend's 40th birthday. And what I did for his 40th birthday, and I'm going to show you how you could do it if you wanted to as a gift or just to have one for yourself, a paper wallet. This is Tron's website. Tron.network, or just go to Google and type Tron Network, and you'll find their website. And then up at the top here, you can click on Wallet. All right. And right here, let's see, where did I go? Well, I'm trying to remember the exact place. Oh, here it was. Okay. And then once you click on Wallet, you go down here and you click on Website. This is the Tron Wallet web. Okay. Go to that website. Click on that, and it pulls up this blockchain explorer website. If it'll come up. Okay, here we go. All right. What it does is it pops up the new wallet, and what you do is you create a password here, and then you click on next here. I'm not going to go through all that, but what you're going to get is you're going to get your private keys. You're going to create a password. You're going to get your private keys, and you're going to get an encrypted key. And then once you've done all of that, you can come back here and you can import the wallet with your private key. And what you'll do is you'll go to wherever. You can go to Binance. I went to Binance. You can buy Tron on Binance, and then you'll have, when you create this wallet here, it's going to give you your Tron address as well. And so once you have that address, the private key, the encrypted key, and all that, you're going to print that out, and you'll copy your address, of course, and then from Binance, you're going to send the Tron that you bought to that Tron address that you've created for this paper wallet. And then anytime the person you give this to or yourself, you just go here and you sign in, and you're going to import wallet, and you'll input your private key, and boom, you'll see the Tron that you have, and you'll be able to send it places and do whatever you want. Pretty darn cool. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that if Brad Garlinghouse is 10% correct, just with the use case having to do with the bank settlement around the world and the Nostro accounts, if Ripple is 10% right or 10% successful, is probably a better word, $69.23 is what XRP would be. Thanks for listening.